This is Justin Case from American Newscape, introducing friend, author, coach, mentor, Dr. Olga Lazin to American Newscape. Dr. Lazin, welcome to American Newscape.
Hi, good afternoon, Justin Case. So lovely meeting you here.
Okay, well, it's lovely to have you, Doctor. Today, we're talking about one of your many, many books. But first, I want to ask you, where have you been and what's been happening with you?
Well, I have been teaching history and philosophy at University of UCLA, which is University of California, Los Angeles, in the heart of California. This is the most prestigious university on the western coast of America. And students here are always engaged in new movements and everything there is a novelty. They are very proactive, and I can tell you I had some brilliant students who are writing books themselves and teaching history nowadays in certain parts of America, certain universities, including in Mexico and other countries.
Wow.
I had very good students.
American Newscape, we do a series called History Matters. It's because our belief and our audience's belief that we have an opportunity to learn from history. And it is important.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's dig into this book of yours. What book are we going to talk about today?
We could start with civic engagement and civil society and polity. This was one of the oldest books, but I need to talk about it because it's very timely to talk about these issues right now. Civil polity and philanthropy in the United States of America, Romania, and Mexico, my countries of choice. It is a comparative study, 3 countries, and I bring in statistical data about changes, GDP, education, index, health, communications, and that's how we are studying how life is improving in these countries due to the nonprofit law, philanthropic law of America, which is fantastic and should be replicated in the entire world, actually. Mexico has already done it, and Romania.
Well, it's amazing. And when you say Romania, people don't, sadly, a lot of Americans believe Transylvania was a fictitious country of the good count.
No.
But it wasn't. And you're from Transylvania, and that's fascinating.
Yes, I was born in Transylvania in the age of golden state of socialism, which my mother was part of, but I still love her for that. Where Nicolae Ceausescu, the president of the country, was the most statist and the most dominant socialist, as he put it, multilaterally developed personality of socialism, because he pulled away from the Soviet Union.
Right.
So he didn't want the dictate of people like Boris Yeltsin and all the other leaders who destroyed the country, basically, because they have basically taken over, stratified the whole countryside. They took over, they put the people in blocks of flats, and they forced them into cities that were not yet built, but were supposed to be built. And this is a book. It's Escaping Vampirism in Transylvania. It's right there.
Okay.
They cut my head off in Transylvania, of course. Escaping Vampirism in Transylvania to the west. And that's a book most dear, closer to my heart, because that's where my biography is. And my memoirs, The Years of the Golden Years of Socialism, which were actually very peaceful and nice because there were no wars, and except for the Cold Wars that was slowly taking over everybody's life. But I consider it was the most beautiful country. If I had to pick a country to be born in and the province, that would be always Transylvania, forever.
You and the good
I
kind.
love it.
Yeah.
So pristine, the nature, so much ozone because of the virgin forest, which is rare. Nobody has that type of forest we had in Transylvania. And post-revolution, post-shooting of the president, which was Nicolae Ceausescu, who was the father of the nation. That's what we were taught in schools, that he's the father of the nation. So people had to give up their own freedom and liberties just to be protected by daddy, you know.
Okay.
And Transylvania is the place where I will return after I do my job here in America.
Well, I think
I will definitely return there because nature recognizes me and I recognize nature, and it's always good to return where the good vibrations. I'm made of those flowers and trees, and where I promenaded, and it's just a beautiful country. It's unbelievable. Thanks God it was not no investment from outside. Somehow he did us a service, the dictator, He stopped, the greedy investors. The Austrians came in and they destroyed the rivers. The cattle died. The forest is dying. The IKEA has taken over. They are using my country now for spare parts, which I totally disagree with what's happening. That's why I'm going to go back and prepare things.
Well, that's good, Olga. We're going to be sorry to lose you. You've been here for quite a while, and you did not make an easy journey to get here.
32 years now.
But you basically, when you say escaped, you did escape.
Oh, yeah, I ran. I had to run for 3 days, basically, on open fields, in open fields and orchards. It was beautiful. Even that aspect of it was quite thrilling for me. I love it. At the end, it's a country of werewolves and vampires. The Communist Party and its members were vampires who were literally extracting everything from people. Whatever they had to donate and give it to the state. Literally, they were forced to give it. If not, they were put in jail. From eggs to cows to meat to everything you produced, someone produced, or the work, in school, it has to go to the state. And the state is going to administer. That's hyper-statism. That's a problem. When the power is in the hands of the capital of the country and the politicians who are running it, and they decide what to do with everything.
And that's a problem of society. Well, that's a problem of society everywhere. Absolutely everywhere.
Mexico included, the United States. I think the Mexico is the most chaotic. At least in Romania, you had some orderly statism, anti-statism, statism, anti-statism, high statism. Security, high surveillance security state, which came true when I left. Now that was a peak that I couldn't take it anymore. I had to go away. And in Mexico, I'm gonna read one sentence from the anti-statism book. Chaotic, it's chaos, constantly chaos under Peña Nieto, whom I know personally, the president who preceded AMLO, Manuel López Obrador, who is the actual president. Now, under him, you had a chaotic, anti-statism. People revolted against statism. They had it since 1825. Can you imagine? They had all these anti-statist revolutions. These periods are characterized by anti-statists seeking decentralization of power. That's where I'm talking about in the other book, Decentralized Globalization, which I coined that terminology. To the provinces, you decentralize the power to the provinces versus statists in Mexico City, seeking centralization of power in the capital. And same with my country, Bucharest. All the power was concentrated in Bucharest, as I say.
Well, it's kind of,
Yes, so that's a tension there. There is a dialectic to it.
well,
And keeps coming back.
when we think about the United States, it's supposed to be shared powers with the centralized government and the states with states' rights. And
Yes, the state right.
it becomes a very gray area at times when the states are trying to do
Overpower.
overpower federal laws, and the federal government is trying to impose their will upon states, even though a lot of courts will put that into a category of states' rights. So it's a remarkable study, and I think most people would really enjoy these books and enjoy your classes, because Dr. Lazin, you bring so much passion to these conversations. It's hard not to be drawn into them.
Thank you. I'm talking about state versus state power overpowering in this one, in philanthropy, the power of philanthropy, where the federal law supersedes the local laws on nonprofits, you know. This one speaks to your language exactly and explains the state of California, where we stand at right now regarding, you know, state power. Here in California, we have a lot of, as you know, dominant democratic, but now it's shifting. That balance of power is shifting towards the Republicans right now as we speak.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize about California is it has a lot of external influences, like the Chinese government.
Absolutely.
And,
including from China, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
China is big here.
Well,
It's big. Yeah.
And sadly, you know, the leadership of California will cater to these outside influences over its own citizenry all the
Constantly.
time.
Constantly. It's painful. Just look at the percentage of Chinese and Asian students versus local students and versus American students. We have 75% Asian students at the university versus, you know, 5% Afro-American, 7%, you know, Latinos, which is, the state is dominated by Latinos, basically, because, yeah, California is dominated because of the high reproduction rate on the Latino side. They really reproduce
well, no, they're very amorous.
faster than the Anglos, you know, in general. I mean,
Well, they're just very amorous.
you know, are you familiar with Huntington's theory about
what was that, Olga?
domination of the population of Latino extraction over Anglo-Saxons, and the fear that is driving this movement, actually, including at UCLA. Yeah.
We, you know, I was kind of brought up to believe once you're here legally and an American citizen, you're no different than anybody else, nor should you be treated that way.
Exactly. You shouldn't be different from anybody else. Yeah, yeah. Well, we have the Latino students right now emphasizing studies and history of the Californios. Californios preceded the Anglos here on the western side. General Santa Anna in 1850 has sold California, Nevada, and three more states to the United States of America. So that's the reason why you have an overwhelming Latino population, because they literally own the land and the Castel Dominguez Hills, where I've taught for 25 years, overwhelmingly Latino population. So that's what Huntington is talking about, the change of the racial structure of California.
Well,
And California used to be the fifth most developed uh, state in the world. It's considered number 5. It was considered when I arrived here in 1990. What was that? 1980? Sorry, 1989. Okay, it was number 5 in the world. Um, um, I keep thinking of the demographics changing so fast that you will be astounded. By 2030, it's going to be predominant Latino here, predominant.
well, hopefully they'll
I'm
be left.
studying the demographics.
Hopefully they'll be left with something positive.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's well. Let's encourage everybody to get out and look at these books. We're going to provide some links to your Amazon bookstore, and
Statism, yes, you find this book in all formats, absolutely all formats, from digital. If you do Kindle, it's fascinating to read on Kindle. It's got maps and charts. It has 27 chapters, including about the surveillance state that has become Mexico and Romania,
what
with
what
the use of Pegasus right now and Predator. If you heard of that software, Predator, you heard
well,
they can get into your cell phone without you even knowing or giving them any acceptance. They
right.
running your cell phone.
Well, we can thank
Uh,
Apple for that, but not the Pegasus we talking
no,
about.
it's the other one. It's the Android.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Uh,
Apple is blocking it. Yeah, Apple is good at blocking. Apple is much better with security.
no.
Believe me, I know
Okay.
because I've been with Apple forever. Are
Okay.
you are you are you an Android
Oh, absolutely,
lover?
absolutely. And
Yeah. Well, I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side of the spectrum. We are,
well, yeah, exactly. And and one
but
of us.
I love Apple. I'm actually a developer too. I help them develop. With AI and everything.
Okay. Well, we want to get people there to preview some of those pages and see if they're.
The digital, paperback, in hardback, hardcover, and
And it helps explain what's
you
going
find
on.
it on all platform, including Barnes and Noble and all the libraries that exist out there, including at the library at UCLA
Wow. Okay. Well,
and
I, th- I,
other
th-
colleges.
I think it's a challenging read, as it should be, because I think it's important information.
Yes, we should be aware when statism is strangulating us and when statism is getting too loose.
Well, and you touched on the revolutions in Mexico, and then there's been a lot of them. And one thing about that culture that has a lot of natives genes in that culture. They
The
fought.
Aztecs started the whole statism. The
Right.
Aztec state was the strongest and the first state actually on the North American continent. Very well organized, very militarized, strong. Uh, Took care of all the natives, but they couldn't withstand the horses and the gunpowder brought over by the Spaniards from Spain. So they were taken over. And then another type of statism appeared, which was a Spanish, Hispanic, peninsula oriented, very strong.
And very freedom-minded. It's a very freedom-minded society by the populations, and they were always willing to die for what they believed in, which was very similar to the origins of this country here.
Oh, absolutely. Very brave people who really believe in the country and its freedoms,
Well,
human rights.
Dr. Lazine,
That's
let's
why I love America, for the human rights. That's why I'm here.
well, and there again, you immigrated here and became a citizen, but the United States was lucky to have you. You know, you brought that, you helped you helped raise that intellectual state of the country because you brought some real intelligence with you and some passion, and the education that you came by was not necessarily an easy one. Your trip here was not necessarily an easy one, and damn it, we're lucky you're here.
Yes, I'm so happy. I've been a citizen for 27 years now, and I helped a lot of Romanians to get their citizenship because they need to learn history of the Constitution, United States Constitution. So I helped a lot of people, pass that exam. I did my part there, helping others
Well,
to become good citizens of the United States.
I did
They
that
are
too.
all professors and students and very precious people.
Well, I think anybody that's willing to go through that process is a precious person, and that's one thing we have in common. I helped many people prepare for that exam with my flashcards. Taught them how
You
to use
yourself,
flashcards. There you go.
wow, I admire you.
Well,
Wow, one more reason
okay. Well,
to admire you.
all right, Dr. Lazine. Why don't we wrap this up and let's get you to promise to come back because there's so many topics we want to dig into about you, your books, your past, and what you're planning on other than going to Transylvania in the future.
Oh yes, this summer
Okay.
I will go on, and in fall, Poland summer. We still have some land over there, and orchards of plums, and because we love plum brandy country.
Who doesn't love plum brandy?
So, well, yes, it's important. It's important to oversee what they're gonna do to the plums there. Somebody has to participate, and because it's a beautiful folkloric occasion, people recite different stories, and they are preparing magic potions made out of the plum. It's a very creative space in the world. It's like a vortex of knowledge, and people are giving and hospitable, and they sing, they play. They're very happy when you come back to the country because most people don't ever go back there because of what happened to them. People disappeared in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Entire families disappeared. You couldn't speak, you were not allowed to speak to a foreigner. It was 5 years in jail. So you had tourists running around and looking in circles for where is the mayor's house or where is, and asking you, and we just turned our back and we had to go. We had to go away because we couldn't answer. I didn't want to risk 5 years in prison. Then we couldn't get the books. I was a graduate in philology, which is linguistics, the University of Babeș-Bolyai, in the heart of Transylvania. And we didn't have the books, Ulysses and all this James, all the classics of the American literature, and we simply didn't have the books, what we had to prepare exams from. It was that drastic, draconian, you understand, that you couldn't speak the language you were studying. It's very, very painful. It was very painful on us. And I still graduated, despite of all the tragic things. I went and I found on the black market a lot of books, very old and miserable, but I had to read it for the exam if I wanted to pass my exams.
Wow.
It was very draconian. It was a draconian place to live in. The politicians made it miserable for everybody.
You know,
You know.
your ability to share that with your own students today, I can't imagine how they comprehend that.
Oh, yeah. If they can, it depends on
Yeah, yeah,
how deep their intellectual imagination is, because you have to. It's difficult to understand the aberration of it and absurdity of that state. Yes.
well, maybe it's
So
because,
that's why the revolution took place. We had over 1,000 people killed in the streets, in front of the churches, in front of the schools. The miners were invited by the freaking president to come and beat them up in the university. I mean, this is creme de la creme here, and they just get arrested in the underground of the university yesterday. 50 students at UCLA, they were arrested because they disrupted the educational process. You can't even graduate, you can't have a ceremony because of these animals constantly ravaging and destroying the university. What they've done yesterday to the most emblematic building at UCLA, which is called the Royce Hall, where I had my postdoctoral commencement. And it's such a glorious building. You know what they did? They pepper sprayed it. They sprayed it with paint, red, bloody, and black. It looks like the Soviet Union in 1910. Really, it's
uh, it's,
terrible.
it's
It's
just,
terrible what's happening. Oh, yes.
we'd
I
like,
videotaped, I documented every encampment, and I tried to expose this type of terrible things, vandalizing the most beautiful campus on the Western coast.
well,
It's painful.
we'd like to think they were arrested because they're not bright enough to be able to go to UCLA.
Oh, they blocked courses. People can't go to their classes.
Yeah.
Now they moved the classes online. Can you imagine?
No, I would not have been a good online student back in the day.
Me either. Never. I always have to be interactive, hands-on. I love my professor. Yeah, that's the only way you can get to know your professor, if he's in front of you, and every gesture and every move will tell you a lot of things.
Well,
Will
absolutely.
I like this discipline or not? It's because of your professor. I
Right.
tell you, I'm telling you, it's 70% the professor who makes the class.
Well, absolutely. Even in grade school, even in high school. But, I studied the professor because I knew I'd have to negotiate for a better grade at the end of the course.
Beautiful. You're a negotiator. Oh, yeah. That's wonderful.
All right,
Oh,
everybody. Dr. Lazine, we
so
want to.
lovely. I wish you were my student.
Well, that was kind of a hit and miss. You either loved me as a student or you didn't want to even look me in the eye if I were your student. But
I
I
loved all
understand.
my students, all of them. No discrimination there for me. I always loved all races, all backgrounds.
Well, that's good.
I'm a very loving person, and when I teach, with love. I teach with love and passion.
Absolutely. And I believe you live your entire life that way because that's how you come across. So, that being said, we're going to let you go. This has been Just In Case and Dr. Olga Lazin bringing you American Newscape Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links provided in this video is read more. Today's the day to subscribe to this channel. Please learn more about Dr. Olga Lazin and keep company with us all at the Cool Kids Table.